Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Podcast channel. From the Sugar Shack World Headquarters, it's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, we're going to talk to Jessica Gonzalez from Informed IQ about AI. AI is founding dealer fraud. Well, wait just a minute. Did I mess this up?
I think you might have had one page
no,
too many.
No, I don't. Yeah, I had one page too many. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Well, I apologize. Let me go over here to Mr. Mars' sheet. First, we're going to talk to John Skelton.
There you go.
Life in the full-time RV world. And I think it's fitting because, you know, so many of our fellow car enthusiasts pack up in an RV, go to a car show, maybe trailering a car behind them. And there's some sort of a draw. Don't ask me what it is, but there's some sort of a draw to the RV lifestyle.
Freedom.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Travel the country, see the country.
Or running from the law. Those are my two.
That's his.
No permanent address.
Well, no, I think that they do have that nailed down.
And I'll bet you they have it nailed down in a state that doesn't have state income tax.
Well, let's just find out.
Ask.
Let's just find out right now. Joining us now, John Skelton, full-time RVer with life on the road and how to pack wheel bearings. John,
good morning.
John, you got somebody looking a lot better than you right next to you. Who's that?
Yeah, that is Susan. That is my wife and partner in crime.
See, I knew they were running from the law.
Yeah.
Okay, my first question is, do you know George Skelton?
I do know George Skelton. We've never met face to face, but we have communicated frequently for many years now.
Yeah. Now, where are you talking to us from your RV?
Yeah, we're talking to you from the back of the camper. We have a fifth wheel, and so we're right here in the back of the camper. That's what you see behind us is part of our camper.
Do you have a permanent home as well?
No. I mean, we have a permanent address like you guys were talking about, but this is our home. This is where we live every second of every day.
Now, do you have a home base that you park this thing? No.
Nope. We park it wherever we park it.
How long have you guys been on the road?
We started June 3rd of 22.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you're more than a year into this. I had a cousin, he and his wife did the same thing. I think that they were on the road for, 6 or 7 years. I never really asked them why they ended, but they sold a fifth wheel.
They got caught.
Well, there's that. There is that. They sold the fifth wheel and moved back into a permanent residence up in Janesville, Wisconsin. But matter of fact, Penny just said to me this past week how much they absolutely loved the lifestyle and traveling and all the people that they met.
Yeah, that is true. We do. I mean, we really love it. Like I say, we've only been doing it for 14, 15, 16 months, whatever the math is. But, we've seen things and done things that we never would have thought we would do. I mean, what is that? That's 65 weeks, something like that, 70 weeks.
Do you keep a journal?
It would have taken us, 15 years of vacations.
Sure.
To see all the things that we've just done.
So where was your house that you sold to start this lifestyle?
It was in central Indiana, just west of Indianapolis, central Indiana.
Okay. Well, my family heritage is in Terre Haute, Indiana.
That's where I'm from.
Hometown.
Well, your last name's not Armstrong, is it?
It is not. It's
okay.
Morris.
Did you ever know any Armstrongs?
Maybe.
Good answer with your husband sitting right next to you.
Yeah, we don't admit to knowing Don either.
Well, when you talk about you have to ask north side or south side.
I don't know any of that. I've never been to Terre Haute, Indiana, but all I can tell you is that if you search the name Armstrong, at least in my family, it goes to Terre Haute, Indiana.
Wow.
So there's that. But we'll move on from that.
Well, I would think one of the important things in your lifestyle is that whoever your travel partner is you guys get along pretty well because you don't get away from each other very much.
Well, I think we do. I mean, maybe we need to be put in separate rooms and ask that question. I don't know, but about the only thing I feel like we're not always eye to eye on is temperature. I like things hot. I like the hot weather, hot.
Where are you right now, John?
We're in Vernal, Utah.
Okay,
That's in the northeast corner.
Okay, it'll take you about 2-3 days to get here, but we've had well over a month of 105-degree days. So come on down.
She's shaking her head.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's
He's sitting there in a sweatshirt and she's got a T-shirt on. That should tell you something.
Well, we're leaving for Ouray. As soon as we get done here, we're leaving for Ouray, Colorado. And I think the high temperature a couple of days is only going to be in the upper 50s,
There you
low
go.
60s.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you keep a journal, or have you logged miles? How many miles do you know or estimate that you've traveled?
Well, we have 14,500 miles roughly on the camper itself. And we have about 52,000 miles on the truck.
What kind of truck?
It's a 22 Ram 3500 dually.
Has it got the Cummins diesel in it?
Oh, yeah.
It does.
And how's that working out for you?
It's an awesome truck. It really is. I mean, this camper weighs probably 8.5, 9 tons, something like that. And, that truck gets us over the Rockies. Doesn't even really break a sweat.
And who does the majority of the driving?
All of the driving.
Yeah. Every single second.
So whose idea was this to sell the house and started this RV thing? Yours, John?
Well, I mean, it was my idea. I brought it up
Oh,
first.
come on, John. Now be honest. It's your
Here,
fault.
let me give you the entire
There's a look of
segment.
surprise on your wife's
I can
face.
squeeze in this entire decision-making process in about one sentence. We're watching TV in November of 2019. And I don't know, I think we're watching something on the national parks. And I looked at Susan and I said, would you ever think about just selling everything and travel the country? And she goes, yep. That was it. That was our decision-making process.
So, but you're in central Indiana. I mean, what did you do there for a living? Apparently you worked at some point.
Yeah, and I still do. I work full-time as well. I'm a banker, so I do bank things.
Yeah. Do you have a teller window notched in the side of the RV?
Right back there in the back. See that window back there?
They're sitting on a stack of money.
No. But,
Now you know why he's running.
Do you focus on any type of areas to visit? I know you said you're in Utah right now, and I know Utah's got some stunning national parks. But is the national park still a theme that you're trying to visit as many of them as you can while you're traveling?
I wouldn't say that visiting all the national parks is necessarily our goal. But the thing is, the national parks are just so beautiful that if you get close to one, you can't not go.
Right.
Right. But like I said, we left in June of 22 was when we left Indiana. And we have basically, not completely, but almost exclusively spent the entire time west of the Mississippi. So we've been in most of the states west of the Mississippi. Now, next year, we're going to do most of the states east of the Mississippi. And then the year after that, I think we're going to try to spend the summer up in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
So do you have any plans to after you've got done with all of this touring with the fifth wheel, of hanging up the fifth wheel or parking it somewhere and getting back to real life?
Yeah, we've talked about that. Where do we want to, put down roots, permanent roots? And we've narrowed it down to a couple of states or 3 states.
What are those? What are those states?
South Carolina and New Mexico are at the top of the pack right now.
Okay, why?
Yeah, that's a pretty wide range between there geographically.
It is a wide range. Again, it goes back to our differences of climate. I like hot and humid, so South Carolina is my jam. She doesn't like hot and humid, so that's where New Mexico comes in. So, and they're both awesome states. We've been to both of them. They're both awesome states. We love them. In fact, we're headed to New Mexico right now here in the next month for the balloon fiesta. So
what kind of RV do you have there?
We have a 2022 Dziekan Pinnacle. It's a 41-foot fifth wheel, bath and a half.
So Slide outs?
Huh?
Slide outs?
We have 3 slides.
Yeah.
And Dziekan seems to be kind of one of the more popular versions of fifth wheel travel trailers on the market. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is right. Dziekan is very popular. Of course, just like any manufacturer of anything, they have different levels. And we have a Pinnacle. And, those are good full-time, for people who live in it full-time and travel a lot. Dziekan Pinnacle is really a solid build. As opposed to somebody who maybe only does it over the summer, or they live in it, but they live in it at a permanent location for a long period of time.
John, all I know is that it can be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Once you get to where you're going, I mean, you're going to work half a day getting the thing set up.
Well, setting it up actually is really a piece of cake. It's the tear down that takes a little bit longer.
Okay, whatever. But, I mean, there's a lot of work involved in that. Here's the other thing. 41 feet behind my car. Let's see. Can I make that right-hand turn in downtown Terre Haute?
Yeah, that is the challenge of, and also like when we go east next year, I'll be looking real closely at overhead, because we're 13 foot 4 inches high, and you go out in the east, and sometimes those overpasses, not on the interstates, but when you get off the interstate, sometimes those overpasses aren't that high, so you have to put some thought into it. And there's software, of course, for that.
There is an app that'll talk to you about low clearance.
How about that 5'9" bridge video that you see people trying to put their vehicle like yours underneath that wipes all of the air conditioning off the top of it as they go underneath it?
Yeah, in our hometown of Avon, where we were before we started, there's a low railroad overpass. 2 or 3 times a year, you'll see some UPS truck or some delivery truck just shear the top off of it, and they have to shut it down for a day to fix everything.
Is there any maintenance that you need to do on that part of it, that motorhome or the travel trailer?
Constant maintenance. Last week, we repacked the bearings. That's super important. I was up on the roof this past week, cleaning the condenser and the evaporator coils on all 3 of the air conditioning units. Next week, I have to clean and treat the roof itself because it's been out for a year and a half, and the UV and the dirt and the sap and everything like that. So I go up there and clean and kind of put a protective coating down over that. And so there is a lot of maintenance. It isn't just hitch it up and go and forget about it.
And Susan, not only I'm sure that you probably take care of the inside of it, but then you have to put up with him after he's been up on the top of that thing all afternoon.
He's not too bad about that.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
So, I have a friend who RVs, and he talks about having to make appointments or schedule into different RV parks around the country, and how some of them are, booked up for a year in advance. How do you deal with getting to an area? Because I'm sure you have to plan if you're going into the Yosemite area, where you're going to stay and how far in advance do you have to book that? And then once you get there, how long do you typically stay?
Yeah, that's a long answer to that. So when we do our planning, the first thing I look at is, can we have a clear view of the sky? Because I use Starlink to stay connected and do my job.
Yep.
So I have to have a clear view of the sky. I can't be under a tree. We have not run into, I don't think very often, have we run into a place where we couldn't get in. Now, some of them are busy, but we also plan it out a long time in advance. I mean, we've already kind of sketched out our 2024 plan. Here in the next 2 or 3 months, Susan will go and start calling them and making the reservations. But we haven't really run into that as far as not being able to get where we want to go. But we usually stay somewhere a week to 2 weeks, maybe a little longer, but usually we get in on a Saturday, we leave the next Saturday or the following Saturday.
Do you feel like you're going broke at any time on this adventure?
No, he's a banker.
He's got money at his fingertips.
Well, all I can
Get
think
money
of is
anytime
he's
he
a
wants.
banker, and so he's got his finger on the money pulse, if you will.
Check your account.
No, we, not really. I don't really feel like we're going broke. We're financially conservative people. And so, we were able to, because excuse me, we earned our house free and clear. So when we sold it, that's what we used to. So we wrote a check for the camper, wrote a check for the truck. So we don't owe anybody anything. So, we don't have a house or a car payment, no real estate taxes, no utilities or anything like that. So,
but those hookup fees in some of these parks that you guys visit can be pretty pricey at times.
Yeah, they sure can. They've gotten really expensive over the last 2 or 3 years. So we get full hookups, meaning water, sewer, electrical. And, we're probably paying, I don't know, I haven't done the math because I'm kind of afraid to, but, we're paying probably $50 to $60 a night to stay somewhere.
Cheaper than a hotel.
Yeah, but every night, they have no other place. I mean, you don't pull that thing up in front of my house here and stay in that for a week.
True.
So it's every night it's $50, $60.
Yeah, 30 nights a week, we're paying $50 to $60 a night, every night. But that still isn't, our mortgage payment and real estate taxes and utilities and stuff like that. I mean,
I guess, yeah.
It's kind of a break even.
How do you deal with the mail when you're on the road?
So we have a mail service in Livingston, Texas, that handles all of that for us.
Yes.
So all of our mail goes there. That's our official residence. So on our tax forms, driver's licenses, everything with my employer, everything is listed as Livingston, Texas. So all the mail goes there. Any mail that's important, they send it to you via email. Okay, right? Most of the stuff that goes to that place is junk, by and large. Not always, but most of it's junk. Susan calls every couple weeks, goes over with them. Hey, what's in our mailbox? Either trash it or send it to us, and then we give them the address of whatever park we're going to be at next week.
And I noticed you chose a state with no state income tax.
Well,
that was a factor. That was absolutely a factor. I'm not going to lie. But also a bigger factor is, some states, to be a resident of that state, you have to actually live in that state a certain number of nights. Texas doesn't have that requirement, at least not yet. They might, but they don't right now. So we can be official Texas residents, and we can never spend a night in Texas. Not every state is like that.
Well, you don't know what you're missing if you've never spent a night in Texas. We love Texas.
Yeah. Now we do spend about a month every year in Texas because that's where our dentist is. That's where various doctor's appointments are. We have to register, all that kind of good stuff. So we love Texas, but we don't have to be there.
Well, there was one question that I wanted to ask, and I don't have time to go over it now. Well, kind of. Do you ever run into any car guys or people that have a trailer behind, say, their pusher motor coach or something like that they've got it all loaded up with cars, race cars?
I'll tell you, when we were here, the first couple of days we were here, right across the street from us, some guy pulled in and backed his Lamborghini out of his trailer, and he just parked it right here. So we were looking at a Lamborghini for 3 or 4 days.
Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know that they're out there with you because obviously we're car people. John, Susan, it's great to talk to you guys. Thanks for sharing some fun stuff with us
cool
when it comes to a full-time RVer and the lifestyle that you've chosen for yourselves.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. You do the same.
Travel safe.
Yeah, travel safe. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, our email address here is info@inwheeltime.com, and don't send us a bunch of junk mail. Time now for the In Wheel Time race card. And Conrad has the race card. We're in the heart of the season winding down, actually, now.
Mm-hmm. So next weekend, they're at Maple Grove in Pennsylvania. The NHRA is. NASCAR is at Kansas this weekend. They're at Bristol for a Saturday night race next weekend. And then they're at Fort Worth, Texas on the 24th of September. Formula One is in Singapore next weekend. They're in Japan on the 24th. IMSA, is at the Indy Road Course next weekend, which will be fun to watch. That's kind of coming to the end of their season, and the Cadillac GTP cars and the Corvette program. The Corvette program's coming to an end because they're going to sell a GT4 version of the Corvette publicly. And then Indy cars this weekend are at Laguna Seca, which is always a fun track to watch. Watch them come off that corkscrew. That's a iconic racetrack. And that's it.
Cool. All right. Thank you, sir. By the way, the In-Wheel Time race card is sponsored by Texas Nostalgia Modified Production.
Yep.
All right. Some states, well, probably every state has at least one or two
They do.
weird traffic laws. And Jeff has done some research and has a feature today on weird traffic laws.
Yeah. Let's get this started. And I've got all the states handled here. And I'm just going to pick one. For instance, Alabama, there's a law that says no driving while blindfolded. Yep.
Okay.
Alaska, it's illegal to tie a dog to the roof of your car, but not your mother-in-law. I made that up. Arkansas, do not honk your horn anywhere that serves cold drinks or sandwiches after 9 p.m. Here's a good one. It's my favorite. It's against the law for a woman to drive in a house coat, and that's in California. Have you seen some of them women?
You could.
No, there's no pictures. We
Okay.
just
The
did an
Housewives
intro.
of OC.
Yeah. Kansas, you can't transport dead poultry in that state. So if you got a chicken in your trunk, you better get rid
Bury
of
it. Don't
Yep.
put it.
Louisiana, a woman's husband is required by law to wave a flag in front of her car before she can drive it. Get the heck out of the way.
Oh my God.
Here's a couple of my favorites. Nebraska, by law, drivers on mountains should drive with caution near the right edge of the highway, even though there are no mountains in Nebraska. So remember that. Nevada, it's illegal to ride a camel on a highway. New Hampshire, it's against the law to inhale bus fumes with the intent of inducing euphoria.
Have you ever had any fume? Well, no, I better not put that there. No, I'm not even gonna go there with
I
the
used
question.
to build models.
Oh, yeah. Tester's glue.
And that's what's wrong with you now. Can you still buy Tester's glue?
I think so. Yep.
Is that the
Yeah, but you gotta show ID to do it.
Oh, Lord.
In New York, you're from New York. It's against the law to disrobe in your car in Sag Harbor. So you
Sag Harbor.
Sag Harbor.
Don't disrobe in
So
your
that
car.
means you can't be saggy.
in your harbor. Oklahoma, here's another one for you, Conrad. It's illegal to read a comic book while driving.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I don't know how many could read there, but by law in Oregon, you must yield to pedestrians when driving on the sidewalk. Who would have thought?
Driving on the sidewalk.
Tennessee, it's illegal to shoot any game other than whales from a moving car.
In Tennessee, there's
Tennessee.
so many whales in
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Well, have you seen some of those people? Texas, you must have a windshield wiper to register a car, although having a windshield is optional. Virginia, women are prohibited from driving a car on Main Street unless her husband is walking in front of the car waving a red flag. We did that same one in Louisiana. It's against the law in Wisconsin for a person to ride a bicycle with their hands off the handlebars.
See, all those years as a kid, Don, riding it hands-free on the bicycle, you were breaking the law.
Yep.
Well, yes, I was.
Yep.
Were you going to say something?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, it's up to you. There
I
you
have Hemmings.
Price schedule?
No, sold cars roundup.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one. I know Kathy's out looking for a car.
Yep.
I got one for her. It's sold, but I think that's something to consider for the future. A 1956 Ford F-350 fire truck. It's sold. The fire truck sold for $21,000. There you go.
All right.
Take that.
She might bring that home today.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
A 1971 Kaiser Jeep. I guess I kind of knew that there was such a thing as a Kaiser Jeep. Looks like a military vehicle to me. $17,000, and it gets,
Wow.
2 miles to the gallon? Maybe.
Mm.
For you, sir, I have here a 1967 very clean-looking Oldsmobile 442
Oh, yeah.
that sold for $36,690. It's beautiful.
They all are.
Okay, not all of them, but most.
He's partial.
I really pared it down this week. I have one here that stood out. A 1966 Volkswagen Microbus.
Oh,
Guesses, anybody?
$65,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 40.
Jeff wins $63,000
Oh.
for that ugly 13 window with the sky panel roofs on it.
Well, the 13
Bus.
windows, not the the selected one is the one with more windows.
21 window.
There you
Well,
go.
I guess that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but a
21
21 window will be a $100,000 bus.
There you go.
That it's no. I guess it's because I lived the era. Those were not something that anybody wanted.
And
They had those to haul people around in.
did you ever
And they were
watch
still ugly?
Jay Leno's Garage?
Yeah.
And the one guy, Fluffy, the comedian,
Yeah.
he's got a huge collection of Volkswagen
VWs,
buses.
yeah.
And finally, for Mr. Mars, you can guess how much this car is. It is a 1961 Plymouth four-door Valiant. This has got your name written all over it. Yes.
$2,200.
What kind of shape is it in? What does
It
look like?
looks like it rolled right out of the showroom.
Push button automatic slant six.
A 1961 Plymouth Valiant. Your guess as to how much that car sold for?
I'm doing my Karnak impression over
Okay,
here.
let's hear it.
I'm going to go for 22.5.
You?
I
Yeah.
said 2,200.
14,000.
$8,000.
Somebody's smoking crack.
That's a four-door. It's
Why?
a four-door.
Why? Because nobody wants it.
Come on.
Golly, what an ugly car.
Those cars need love too.
The proverbial beater. To me, when I was in high school and college, the proverbial beater was any Chrysler product with a slant six.
Yes.
And if it had the push button automatic, all the better, because you could sit there and rev it up and push the button and drive.
I know this because my buddy had a 57 something. I don't remember what it was, but it was a Plymouth or something along those lines. It was a two-door. Ugly, but that's the way it was.
The one with the pink inserts?
No, and
wouldn't die.
But over here on the left, it had that little box that had the push button.
No, but Don still had his red pumps.
Yeah.
And he would floor that thing and hit the drive button, and those back tires would just go crazy.
Cool.
All right. The N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeart app. Just look for N-Wheel Time Car Talk. Tell your friends. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube at nwheeltime.com, and podcast at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after these messages. The original group of Loopy Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Loopy Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Loopy Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Loopy Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Loopy Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Loopy's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggie Land? Head to the Loopy Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Loopy Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Loopy Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning N-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise Inn, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora,